Welcome to Stevie's Kitchen. Tonight, I'm gonna show you how to make barbecue chicken with roasted potatoes and broccoli. All right, let's get started on this barbecue sauce first. So first, we're gonna start with some ketchup. Gonna do about half a cup. This is gonna be a tomato-based barbecue sauce, but I like a little bit of mustard in there for flavor. We've got a 1/4 cup of that going in. I'm gonna add a couple of dashes of Worcestershires, however you wanna say it. Then what really brings out that smoke flavor in the barbecue sauce, I got some liquid smoke. About a tablespoon of liquid smoke that's gonna go in. And then about 2 teaspoons of honey. I'm gonna use Mike's hot honey because I want a little bit of spice to mine, but you can use regular honey. And then we're gonna add in brown sugar, a little bit of onion powder, about a teaspoon of onion powder, about a teaspoon of garlic powder, another teaspoon of smoked paprika, and a teaspoon of red chili flakes. Add in some fresh cracked black pepper, another probably 2 teaspoons of that. And then I'm gonna start with a pinch of salt, and then we'll go from there. Now we wanna get this heat on. We get all this stuff whisked up together. And once you get it all whisked together, we're just gonna let it come to a slow simmer and simmer for about 10 to 15 minutes. And after that, you'll be ready to use it. So now I'm gonna get a brine going for my chicken breast. So whenever you brine your chicken, it's kind of like you could either do a saltwater brine, which I normally do, but since I'm only doing it pretty quickly right now, I'm gonna do a pickle juice brine. So I'm only gonna leave these in the pickle juice for about 20 to 30 minutes, but that salt water is gonna absorb into the chicken. And so whenever you cook your chicken breast, they won't be as dry. So you can do salt water where it's just water and salt, mix it up and you put your chicken in there, let it sit for a couple hours. Or like I said, I'm gonna do pickle juice and let it sit for about 20, 30 minutes. But the brine is just to help retain the moisture in the chicken. Chicken breast can get dry real quick. So glove up, since you're gonna be handling raw meat. So whenever we get this brine on, we're just gonna pour enough over top just to submerge all the chicken. It's not really a rhyme or rhythm to it, it's just enough to submerge. And push that down so everything's incorporated. And now I'm just gonna put this to the side for about, like I said, 20 to 30 minutes while I'm chopping up potatoes. Whenever I get done chopping up potatoes, it'll be time to work with the chicken. So now we're just gonna get these potatoes chopped up. So I just have 3 potatoes, regular rusted potatoes. I'm gonna peel them first, and then we're gonna dice them up into about inch cubes. So after we get them down into inch cubes, we'll chop them all up. I will add a little bit of oil on top of them, a few seasonings, and then straight into the oven, 350 for about 25 minutes. And then after that, they'll be done and ready to go. I feel like peeling and chopping potatoes is the most grunt work in the kitchen. It's like being a rookie and have to carry all the vets' helmets into practice. And after practice, I should say. Is it a hard task? No. But just let you know where you stand. And that's what peeling and chopping potatoes are. Hard? Absolutely not. But if you're in a big kitchen, they'll let you know you're working your way up the totem pole. So now that we got it all peeled, always my weird thing with everything, I always cut off the ends. I don't know why, don't ask me why. Everybody has their weird things they do, that's mine. So we're gonna start making these into some circles. Like I said, we're gonna do about inch cubes. You wanna try to cut everything as uniform as possible so everything has the same amount of cooking time. It's a very important rule that some good chef friends of mine taught me. I was very inconsistent. And then one time they were watching me cook and I about got kicked out the kitchen because I made meatballs 4 different sizes. Once you got all your potatoes cut up and cubed, now we're just gonna take a tablespoon of oil, kind of pour it over. And then We're gonna take a tablespoon of garlic powder, pour it over top, tablespoon of onion powder, about a tablespoon of oregano. Gonna get some fresh cracked black pepper, another tablespoon. And then I'm just gonna do a slight pinch of salt. Again, I don't like to put too much salt when I'm roasting my potatoes or veggies in the oven. I like the salt when they come out, but I just add a little bit just so it can cook in. And now that you have all this in the bowl, I just take it and just slowly toss it until all the potatoes are incorporated, or covered, I should say. You can also use a spoon to stir this all up. I just kind of like using the toss method. One, it saves on dishes. And two, sometimes whenever you're stirring, you can smash your potatoes, even though they're not cooked yet, you can still get in there and mess them up. So just a light little toss, and then everything's coated. And then I already have some parchment paper down on a sheet pan. We're just gonna pour all these potatoes out, spread them out, lay them flat. And then, like I said, this is gonna get popped into the oven, 350 for about 25 minutes. And then after that, they'll be good to go. So now while we have these in the oven, we're gonna get started on our chicken. So our chicken's been brining in this pickle juice for about 20 minutes now. So now I'm just gonna cut this up into some strips. About 3 pounds of chicken in here. I'm about to cut it up into about 8 so I can have about 8 ounces per meal, because we're gonna do this into 5 meals. I'm just gonna cut it up in little chicken strips. Also, doing it this way, I'll be able to cook the chicken a lot faster, so this cuts down on your meal prep time as well, which is also what everybody wants, not super long meals. So now we're gonna get a sear on this chicken. I got my pan going nice and hot. I have a separate pan over here with parchment paper on it, just so I can transfer the chicken to it. And I still got my cut up chicken right here. I'm gonna start by putting a tablespoon of butter. Y'all know me, I cook everything in butter. Most I can. I'm gonna get this in the pan so it can get nice and hot. So whenever you do this, you want your pan nice and hot, so whenever you put your chicken in, it gets a great sear, so you can build up that crust. And then from there, once I transfer it out, is whenever I'm gonna put on the barbecue sauce. Only reason I'm doing it that way is because I'm gonna be cooking this chicken in a bunch of batches. And if that barbecue sauce gets the bottom of that, it's gonna caramelize and then turn black and it's gonna burn. And I don't want all that on my chicken. So I just want chicken in the pan, barbecue sauce over here. And then I'll finish it in the oven once all the chicken's off for just like a minute or two, just to let that barbecue sauce really coat that chicken. So now I hear the butter is boiling. Let's start adding our chicken. All right, so now we're gonna remove some of this chicken. Like I said, make room for the next chicken. We're just gonna put it over here to the side. We got good crust on all these. Now that these are off, I'm gonna add a little bit more chicken to my pan. And then I'm gonna brush these with some barbecue sauce. While we got this other chicken going, I'm gonna get my barbecue sauce that we made earlier and just get little brushings on all these. Whenever you think about barbecue sauce, you automatically usually put it in that unhealthy realm. But like I said, since we're just brushing a little bit on there, you're not making your chicken swim in the barbecue sauce, you'll be perfectly fine using it. All right, so now that we have our last batch of chicken on, that's about to come off. Again, to the side. Turn this down. Like I said, I'm gonna brush this last little bit with the barbecue sauce. Then that same oven that was sitting at 350, we're just gonna put it in for about 2 to 3 minutes, just to let this barbecue sauce really adhere to all this chicken, kind of bake it in. Okay, now we have everything done, it's time to plate it. I use freezer bag broccoli, so it's just popped in the microwave for 5 minutes. It's frozen at its freshness, so it's nice and green. We have our chicken that's back out the oven for the 2 minutes, and our potatoes are done. So now, let's build this meal. So we're gonna get a couple of these potatoes in here. Let's add in some chicken. Again, we got about 8 ounces going in each bowl. I'm just gonna put a few in this one. And then I'm gonna add some of our broccoli. Simple like that. You have your barbecue chicken with roasted potatoes and broccoli for meal prep. I'm gonna try a few of these things individually. I'm gonna try the chicken individually. That brine on the chicken kept it nice and moist. That barbecue sauce, you're gonna love that. It's a great piece of meal, a great bite. Now, get a little broccoli, a little roasted potato. This is the last piece of that chicken. All one big bite for you. Finish chewing. Now this is a complete meal. You got your veggie, you got your potato, you got your protein. You're gonna love this. And again, you're not gonna feel bad about eating it. Make sure you make this one.